The Fountain, Day 216, Ruler. Who rules over you? The president? The governor? The mayor? It's easy to get so distracted by earthly rulers that we forget our real ruler is the Lord. There is no ruler on earth who can usurp the rule of God. His rule stands firm. God rules over me. When Jesus became my Lord, he also began to rule over my life. If you have him in your heart, then he rules over your life also. I look only to him when I'm discerning the next step. I don't wait to hear from doctors or the government or even pastors. I lean in to my ruler. With that in mind, let's read this scripture. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from the darkness for the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. Isaiah 61, verses 1 through 3. This is the portion of scripture that Jesus read in the temple. This is describing him. We can look to him for all of these things. In this portion of scripture, we see many of his intentions. Isn't it wonderful that our King thinks about us so much? Earthly kings and queens, emperors and princes undoubtedly think about themselves more than they think of others. They are raised in some sort of bubble, people catering to their every need. They don't ever go out among the common people. Our King not only walked among us, he first came as a baby in the womb, the most vulnerable position in earth. It's a marvel and a wonder how much he loves us. Let's not forget that we're subject to God above man. The political landscape doesn't inform us. He does. Why am I highlighting this? Because I see the propaganda machine again trying to ramp up things ahead of the midterm elections. And I'm imploring you to get your news from God alone. I believe we are to actively resist. The machine is a machine of the enemy. Don't be fooled. Listen to the Spirit of the Lord and make decisions from whatever he tells you. The greatest source of my peace has come from doing this. I have stepped away from all mainstream news and have tuned my ear toward heaven instead. This is the only place where truth resides. When we declare that God is our source, we are hidden in his wings. When we hide in his presence, we become invisible to the enemy. Hide away. Hide in him. Now, this doesn't mean hide out and don't interact with the world. I mean, even while doing your normal business, you can be hidden. I stay subject to God everywhere I go. I remain focused on him, even at the grocery store. When I get gas, I'm praying. As I interact with my family, I stay centered on him. The only way I can make it in life is to stay centered. Find peace and let that guide you. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Scripture says, "For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this." Isaiah 9, verses 6 and 7.